Welcome to part 3 of the Ezell Stepp story, produced by North Texas Revealed.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. Let's go to press. Key witness in the Ezell Stepp trial takes the stand today in the murder trial of the century. Arlie Stepp, nephew of the defendant, indicted as an accomplice in the murder of Hardy Mills, was placed on the stand soon after court convened this afternoon.
My name is Arlie Stepp. I live 3.5 miles southeast of McKinney. I am 29 years old. Lived in Collin County for 10 or 15 years. Ezell Stepp is my uncle.
Do you remember the day that Mills disappeared?
Yes,
Where did you stay the night before?
at my uncle's.
That was on Thursday night.
Yes,
Who was there?
my uncle and his family, Dave Stepp and wife and myself.
The defendant spent the night there, did he?
Yes,
What time did you get up Friday morning?
about 4:30 a.m.
Was it daylight?
No,
Where did you go?
I came back to McKinney
How?
in my car.
In describing his trip back to town and then to his home, Arlie Stepp said,
I came back to McKinney, picked out Mrs. Caslin and her son, Mrs. Sam Shipman and Mrs. Kuckendall, and drove there to my home. I lived at home with my parents, Mr. and Mrs. J.L. Stepp. I let out the cotton pickers at the field and went into the house for breakfast. I then returned to the field and weighed in empty cotton all day. My uncle came to my field about midday in a boat. He told me to bring Mose Louder home that night. Mose Louder is the defendant's son-in-law. That evening, I brought the cotton pickers back to their homes in McKinney and took Mose Louder to Ezell Stepp. Got to my uncle's about dark and ate supper.
Were the same persons there that were there the night before?
All except Dave Stepp and wife. There were 2 new boys there. I didn't know who they were. After supper, me and Uncle sat on the north porch. I told him I had to go. He wanted me to stay all night. He wanted me to go with him to the borders, so I did. Then he wanted me to go to the hay press with him, so I did. He got some baling wire, and I asked him what he was going to do with it. He said he might use it sometime. We came back to the house, stopped at the car. He said, let's go and see about the cotton pickers. We went about a half-mile north of town to a nearest home by the name of Hosey. Came through McKinney, came back to McKinney, went back to my uncle's home. He said he had a little job that had to be done that night. He said, I killed that fella that was trying to send me to the penitentiary. I'd have to do something with him, and that I had to help him with the job. We went to Dave's house, a mile beyond. Uncle had me to stop and turn around, and it told me to stop at Dave to get a sheet we might need. He couldn't find it and said, well, we don't need it anyway. We didn't stop back to Uncle's home. We stopped about 300 yards south of his house. A car was approaching. He said, drive on, there are too many cars. So we drove on. We drove over to the old well where we got out. He came back to Uncle's home on the pike. Drove about 400 to 500 yards south of his house. He told me to turn around, so I did and drove back. He told me to stop, but I had stopped before. I did. When he visited the whole well, Uncle said, this is where we're going to put it. When we stopped the second time south of Uncle's house, he said, we'll get out and we'll get him. We did. We got him about 30 rows over in the cornfield on the pike. When we reached the spot, I saw him with a cotton sack over him and a top cover tied over his head. Uncle said, let's get him in a car. We took him. Let's lay him on the running board on the car. We did. We fastened him on with straps. We drove back to his house and stopped. Uncle got out and got a piece of iron and baling wire.
Does this look like the piece of iron?
Yes, we drove back to the old well. He took the body and laid it by the well. Uncle tied the iron between the deceased legs. He had me help put the body in the well. I went back to my car. He came back to the car and said, let's go. Got in the car and came back to Uncle's around pike.
On Saturday, Arlie arose before daylight and made it to town that morning to get some cotton pickers, but found none. He met with Ezell Saturday afternoon near the jockey lot, where they discussed the matter of the night before. Arlie said,
Ezell told me he asked Mills to go with him across the cornfield to a patch of cotton he was carrying in Idaho. While they were walking through the corn patch, Ezell said to Mills, "You've been trying to send me to the pen, haven't you?" Mills said, "No," to which Ezell replied, "No, and I don't think you will either," and struck Mills on the side of the head, breaking the handle of the Idaho. He said he then pulled a knife and stabbed Mills in the heart.
Arlie then explained why the body had been covered with a corn sack.
It was to keep the flies from reaching the wounds.
After some grueling questions concerning his statements by defense counsel, he was asked what he expected to be the result of his indictment as an accomplice, to which Arlie said,
"I did not kill Hardy Mills, but you will find blood on either the seat or the floor of my car."
The defense continued their examination of Arlie.
Would you have admitted that you killed Hardy Mills if you had done it, even though you admit capital punishment?
Yes, I would admit to it if I had done it.
Before you made the statement that Stepp killed Mills, did they tell you that they had enough evidence to hang you?
No.
And they told you if you knew anything you had better tell it, and that they would see that you weren't hanged?
No.
In your statement to the county attorney, didn't you state the defendant told you 3 times that he killed Mills?
No.
And didn't you tell him that you killed Hardy Mills, that you asked him to get into the car and ride a while? While he was getting in the car, you hit him behind the ear with a hammer, and that you wanted your uncle to help you put away the body, and your uncle said he would have nothing to do with it?
No.
So you and your wife were separated.
Yes.
You had no trouble with Hardy Mills. You and Mills are good friends.
We had no trouble.
Why are you separated from your wife?
She left me and went to a restaurant in McKinney and began to run around. Mills told me what she was doing. I told Mills to get her and make an appointment, let me know so that I could catch them. I knew she was doing things she shouldn't be doing, but I wanted the proof so I could get a divorce.
The defense asked in rebuttal,
Don't you know that you were laying a trap for Hardy Mills? Go out with your wife and let you catch them, so you could kill them.
No.
R.A. LaRouax, a chemist with the McKinney City Hospital, then testified that stains found on the trousers of Ezell Stepp and the stains on the back of the automobile of Arlie Stepp were analyzed and came back to be human blood. Glenn Massie, undertaker for Sam J. Massie Undertaking Company, took the stand.
In my examination of the body of Hardy Mills, I found wounds, one behind the left ear, gash about an inch long, little dent in the forehead, and a round hole in the right side just beneath the ribs. I probed the hole in the side were about 2 inches.
At this point in the trial, prosecution offered in evidence, including the railroad iron and the defendant's trouser. The jury members examined each one themselves over the objection of the defense. Defense objecting to the trousers on grounds that the pants had never been proved up and wanted to know who got the pants. The objection was overruled, and Deputy Sheriff Harry White said,
I found the pants behind a door in the north room of the defendant's home and took them to McKinney and gave them to the assistant county attorney.
The following Monday, October 17th, at 1:30 p.m., the county attorney, A.M. Wilford, ended with closing arguments for the state of Texas versus Ezell Stepp, charged with the murder of Hardy Mills. Prosecution is seeking the death penalty, but now it is in the hands of the jury.
This just in. At 4:30 this afternoon, the jury in the Stepp trial has reached a verdict. Guilty of murder. Handing down the most extreme penalty in the third ballot, unanimously voted in favor of the death sentence.
After the verdict was read, Judge Wilcox remanded the defendant to be held for punishment. Stepp was taken back to the county prison, where he stated to a visitor at jail that morning, I've never spent a more restful and happy night. Photographs of Ezell and Arlie Stepp were made this morning, Stepp requesting from the photographer to make the picture natural. All through the trial, Ezell remained confident that he would prevail over the charges against him. The defendant never appeared to be the least bit worried, nor did he change his countenance when he heard the verdict. Arlie Stepp, who was indicted as an accessory to murder, will probably not be tried at this term with the district court. The jury may only assess his punishment at 5 years if found guilty, and could suspend the sentence. It was Arlie Stepp's testimony that his uncle, Ezell Stepp, was convicted. A motion by the defense was filed requesting a new trial. Arlie Stepp is out on a $5,000 bond. On November 28, 1921, defendant attorneys for Ezell Stepp, in an effort to save the defendant from the gallows, gave notice of plans to take his case to the Court of Criminal Appeals shortly after their motion for retrial was denied by Judge Frank E. Wilcox. The Court of Criminal Appeals upheld the verdict on June 14, 1922. Governor Pat M. Neff declined to pardon or commute the sentence, writing in a letter to the sheriff on Thursday, November 16, 1922. Building of the scaffold and surrounding enclosure had begun months prior, with curious onlookers watching from the alley behind the prison daily. From the very first moment that the erection of the gallows was commenced, hundreds of people looked on curiously at the scene from morning until night. When sentenced by Judge Wilcox the previous year, the judge said, "It is the order of the court that the defendant, Ezell Stepp, who has been adjudged guilty of murder and whose punishment has been assessed by the verdict of the jury at death, shall on Friday, the 17th of November, A.D. 1922, in Collin County, Texas, be hung by the neck until he is dead." Throngs of people gathered outside doors of the Collin County prison, waiting for the keeper to admit them, that they might go in and see Stepp one last time. The accused was very eager to talk and seemed most of the time to be in good spirits, always welcoming his friends and conversing with them freely about the murder. Always maintaining his innocence, he said, "I have made my peace, I have a clear conscience, and I'm ready to die." After the sentence was carried out, the body was lowered and removed to the Undertaker, who carried out the previously arranged plans for the funeral and interment of Stepp. It was reported that Stepp made one gasp as the body dropped. That gasp was heard more than 10 feet away. Stepp's body was buried in the Horn Cemetery, just northwest of town. A gray, plush casket lined with white silk, the handles of a gray finished metal, and on top of the casket, in a metal design, were the words, "At rest." Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.